She closed the door softly, the faint click of the latch echoing in the quiet room. Her eyes met mine, steady and unyielding as she leaned back against the wood. "Come over to me," she whispered, her voice low and deliberate. "I've been waiting for this moment." My heart thudded, not from fear, but from the weight of what those words meant. This wasn't a fleeting glance or a casual conversation. It was the culmination of months, years, even of unspoken tension, late-night talks, and moments that lingered too long to be accidental. In that instant, I knew everything was about to change. My name is Ethan Carter, and I'm just a regular guy from Chicago, navigating life in 2025, where the world feels both too fast and too still. I'm 32, working as a project manager for a tech startup, spending my days juggling deadlines and my nights trying to make sense of what I want out of life. This story isn't about grand adventures or dramatic twists. It's about something real, something that happened to me, something that started with a single moment that I'll never forget. It's about me and Emily and how one whispered sentence turned my world upside down. It all began about a year ago in the fall of 2024. I'd known Emily Harper for a while by then. We met through mutual friends at a rooftop barbecue in Lincoln Park. One of those crisp September evenings where the city skyline sparkles against the dusk. Emily was a graphic designer, 29, with a sharp wit and a laugh that could cut through any awkward silence. She had this way of tilting her head slightly when she listened, like she was really hearing you, not just waiting for her turn to speak. I noticed it the first time we talked, standing by a fire pit, debating whether Chicago deep dish was overrated. She said it was. I defended it fiercely. We didn't agree, but we kept talking until the party thinned out and the stars were brighter than the city lights. From there, we became friends, casual at first. We'd grab coffee at a little shop on Clark Street, or she'd text me about some new art exhibit she was excited about. Emily had this energy like she was always chasing something. New ideas, new projects, new ways to see the world. I admired that. My life was stable, predictable even, but hers felt like it was always on the edge of something exciting. Over time, our coffee meetups turned into long dinners, and our texts went from occasional to daily. I'd find myself checking my phone, hoping for her name to pop up. It wasn't just that I liked her, I did, but it was more than that. There was a pull like gravity that I couldn't explain. By spring 2025, things had shifted. Our friends started noticing how much time we spent together. "You two are basically a couple," my buddy Jake said one night at a bar, smirking over his beer. I laughed it off, but his words stuck. Emily and I weren't dating, but there were moments, her hand brushing mine as we walked, the way she'd look at me a second too long. That made me wonder. I never pushed it, though. She'd been through a rough breakup the year before. Some guy named Mark who'd left her doubting herself. I didn't want to be the guy who rushed in, expecting her to be ready when she wasn't. So, I waited, content to just be around her, even if it meant ignoring the ache in my chest. Then came June 2025. Emily had been working on a big freelance project, designing a campaign for a local nonprofit. She was stressed, pulling late nights, and I'd started bringing her takeout when she was too buried in work to eat. One night, I showed up at her apartment in Wicker Park with a bag of tacos from Big Star. She opened the door, her hair in a messy bun. Wearing an oversized sweatshirt and glasses she rarely let anyone see her in. "You're a lifesaver, Ethan," she said, smiling in a way that made my stomach flip. We sat on her couch, eating and talking, the TV playing some random show neither of us cared about. It was comfortable, familiar, but there was something different that night. The air felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. After we finished eating, she leaned back, tucking her legs under her. "You ever think about what you really want?" she asked out of nowhere. Her voice was quiet, but her eyes were locked on mine. I froze, my taco wrapper still in my hand. "Like, what do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep it light. She didn't smile. "I mean out of life, out of us." My heart skipped us. She'd said it like it was a real thing, not just a hypothetical. I set the wrapper down, searching for the right words. "I want to be happy," I said finally. "And I think being around you makes me happy." It was the most honest I'd ever been with her, and it felt like jumping off a cliff. She didn't say anything for a moment, just looked at me, her expression unreadable. Then she stood up, walked to the door, and closed it. I thought maybe she was ending the conversation, that I'd said too much. But then she turned, leaned against the door, and whispered those words. "Come over to me. I've been waiting for this moment." I don't know how long I stood there, my mind racing, my pulse hammering. It wasn't just what she said. It was how she said it. Like she'd been carrying those words for a long time, waiting for the right second to let them out. I crossed the room, my steps slow, like I was afraid I'd break whatever was happening. When I reached her, she didn't move, just kept her eyes on mine. "You mean it?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She nodded. A small, certain nod. "I've been scared," she said. "After Mark, I didn't trust myself. But with you, it's different. I'm ready now." I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I just reached out, my hand finding hers, and she squeezed it hard, like she was anchoring herself to me. That night, we talked until the sun came up. Not about big life-changing plans, but about everything. Her fears, my doubts, the little things we loved about each other that we'd never said out loud. She told me how she'd noticed the way I always made sure she had her favorite coffee order. How I listened when she rambled about her designs. I told her how her laugh was the best part of my day. How I'd started planning my weeks around when I'd see her next. It wasn't perfect or polished. It was messy and real, and it felt like the start of something. The weeks that followed were a blur. Emily and I were together, really together, and it was better than I'd imagined. We'd spend evenings cooking dinner in her tiny kitchen, arguing over who got to pick the music. We'd walk along Lake Michigan, her hand in mine, talking about nothing and everything. But it wasn't all easy. She was still healing from her past, and I had my own insecurities, worries that I wasn't enough, that I'd mess it up somehow. We'd fight sometimes, small things like when I get too caught up in work and forget to text her back, or when she'd pull away, needing space to process her thoughts. But we always came back to each other, always found a way to talk it through. One night in August, we were at my place, sitting on the balcony with a couple of beers, the city humming below us. She turned to me, her eyes serious. "Ethan, do you think this is it? Like really it?" I knew what she meant. Not just dating, not just a moment, but something lasting. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the question. "I don't know the future," I said, "but I know I want you in it every day for as long as you'll have me." She smiled, a real smile, not the guarded one she used to give. "Good," she said, leaning her head on my shoulder, "because I'm not going anywhere." By September 2025, we were planning a trip together, a road trip to the Smoky Mountains, just the two of us. It wasn't a big deal to anyone else, but to me it felt like a promise. A promise that we were building something real, something worth holding on to. I don't know where we'll end up or what challenges we'll face, but I know that moment in her apartment when she closed the door and whispered those words changed everything. It wasn't just about her or me. It was about us and the life we're figuring out together, one day at a time. Looking back, I realized that life doesn't always give you clear signs. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a moment, a door closing softly behind you, and sometimes that's enough to change everything. Emily and I are still writing our story, and I don't know how it ends, but I know I'll never forget the way she looked at me that night. The way her voice carried all the weight of what we'd both been waiting for. And I know I'm ready for whatever comes next, as long as she's by my